Hey there, fellow storage owners. Guy Jabroni here again with agentive automations. What we're going to talk about today is some big changes that have been coming and have recently really taken hold for SEO for self-storage. And some of you may know, some of you may not know, but all of the major search engines now have AI assisted search. What's that mean for us? It's not just SEO anymore. It's not just your Google business listing. There's some other things that are going to have to take place in your facility website structure, in your SEO strategies, and your marketing strategies that we haven't had to do in a while, but now you're going to have to do them. The first thing we're going to look at is mastering the shift from traditional SEO to AI-driven discovery and what that means. So here's the new search reality. Traditional SEO talked about site structure, schema, backlinks, some blogging, depending on the competition in your area. And as I've said several times, SEO in one location is not going to be the same in another location. If you're in a big city, you're competing with the big four, the big five, your SEO is going to be way more expensive than it is going to be in a rural area where you're the only facility out there. I've had several customers that I've consulted with where I just say, listen, you're the only one out there. Get your site structure straight, get your citations, get your GMB set up, and get some links, and you're going to be sitting pretty good unless one of the big guys come in. And even if you do, instead of one, you might be two, and they're going to be jockeying back and forth. So what is GEO? Generative Engine Optimization. We're aiming at being cited in the AI searches as the authority. And we're going to go over some ways to do that, some ways to structure your content. Then you got AGO, which is your AI generation optimization, earning brand mentions within the AI answers. And that's the one that takes some work. You're going to have to go back to blogging, but I have a different take on it. I'm not blogging on my website. We're blogging on other websites, and we're creating an ecosystem that makes us the authority in the area. So what's our mission? Our mission is to become a verified expert. We need to structure our facts, and we need to transform the content into a clear, citable data point that AI systems can read and reference. And I'll go over why that's important. And then dominate RAG. What's RAG? So RAG is retrieval augmented generation. What that means is you've heard several of the major AI players talk about how they train their model. What they mean is they took everything on the internet and they put it in a structured database, and especially Google, they can relate it to similar topics, semantic relationships. So an example of that is the structure of how we define our cities, right? So we have a state. Inside that state, we have cities and towns. Inside those cities and towns, we have different boroughs, but they're all related together. They're related to each other. And in order to fully understand the locations, you need to know what country are you in? What state are you in? What city are you in? What neighborhood are you in? All of that stuff, all of those data points are related. And what you have to do is you create a vectorized database. And when they say vectorized, instead of if I were to give an AI an entire book, just the book, if you don't vectorize it or chunk that book into related pages, like chapter 1, paragraph 2, if you don't give the AI that structure, it usually reads the beginning and the end, and then it'll give you some sort of answer for what's in the beginning. If you ask the question about what's in the middle of the book, you may or may not get a good answer. If you use a RAG database, what it does is it chunks out the entire book, relates the paragraphs to the chapter, to the section, to the title. And then when the LLM reads your question, it can go into that database, read all the different chunks, and pull out what it thinks is the best answer to your question based on your question. And that is how the AI assisted search is working. So if you go to Google and use the AI assisted search, they've vectorized everything on the net, and they're going to try and give you the best answer. Same with OpenAI, same with Grok, all of them. These massive data centers have now created RAG databases for the internet. And when you ask a question, they're going to give you the best answer that they can based on the database, the RAG database access that they have. What I'm going to go over in this video is how do we manipulate that in order to make sure that you pop up in that search? And then there's build authority. And the authority can be built in several different ways. We call it in our company a branding campaign. It's all about brand. Google's all about brand. They've been about brand for the last 3 years. Traditional SEO from 5 years ago was keyword centric. Now it's brands. So Google wants brands. They want to understand the brands in the area. They want to understand your brand. And you have to have a network of sites and a network of online assets that will make your brand the authority in the area. And it's even more so now. So if you've been following what we've been creating, if you've been using an SEO that understands brand, you're ahead of the game because you actually have assets to use. So phase one, technical foundation and localization. This structure that's on the screen right now is what I've been using for the last 2 years for my customers. It's what Google uses. It's what Wikipedia uses. It's no longer keyword stuffing your location titles. It should be your brand plus your category. And I learned this from the guys over at Semantic Mastery. They've done massive testing on this. And I've done testing on this as well, switching sites that were using old pipes and different ways to do your titles and switch it to this along with a better structure for your website that includes a local and geographical semantic relationships. You're going to use your company name plus your category plus your location. For our purposes, the category is going to be self-storage. So you're going to have a page that relates to your Google business category. So you're going to have a page for self-storage facility. You're going to have a page for self-storage. You're going to have a page for record storage, automobile storage. If there's a category on your Google Maps, you want to have a title for it and a page for it. Maximize your schema setup. When a bot scrapes your site to index your page, it will read your schema first. You should not have the same schema on every page. The location page has a schema. Your about page has your organization schema. If you have multiple facilities, then each of those location pages should have its own location schema. And look back in my video on my YouTube channel, I've done a video about schema. Your schema should have all of your brand pages, like your socials. It should have the same as references for Facebook, YouTube, whatever you have out there. And if you don't have anything out there, build it. And we can give you some, leave me a comment and I will tell you where I get mine built. We get them built organically. We don't use some API driven citation finders, but I want all those citations built so that we have control of them. And then I want to take all the citations that I built and I want to put it in my schema so that I create that relationship and increase my ability to be perceived as an authority in the area for the AI. And then you got to optimize your business profile. Use an AI analysis. I like this. You can use Gemini. You can use OpenAI. Just go to put in the link to your Google business competitors and see what they got. Most of the times in a rural area, still in self-storage, you're going to have some underperforming Google business pages, which you can beat pretty handily by just completely filling out the entire thing. And when I say completely, there's sections in your Google business page that will give you 750 characters. Fill in 750 characters using AI. And most of the time, Google will actually give you the example on that. And then leverage the features. This is huge right now, is the question and answer. List out the frequently asked questions that you've had in your business and put them in your QA and then answer them. So ask the question, either you or your manager, ask the question to your Google business page, and then you as the owner respond from your Google business page with a well thought out answer to the question, and then just list the time. So action one, perfect page titles, the formula, company name, category, location. So example, self-storage, storage unit rental, Lakeland, Florida. I wouldn't necessarily use storage unit rental. I would probably put safe store, self-storage, storage units in, or storage units near me. You can mess around with the keywords in the second part. And then the AI systems are going to recognize this and prioritize your brand because your titles are structured. Step two, schema. Use your client cheat sheet. You want service schema and you want service pages. Okay. So every category that you have at your facility on your Google business page deserves its own page on your website. And you got FAQ schema. You want one page on your website that has FAQs and you want to build a schema for that. leave me a comment in the below, and I'll give you the tools that I use to build my schema. I don't build my own schema. I don't use AI naked. Let's say, I don't go to in the open AI and say, give me the schema. Here's my website. Give me the schema for the services. AI is not that great at building the schema that I like, but I do have some paid tools that you can go in that will build the schema out for you. And then break down the process, like how to choose. You want your how-to schema sprinkled in between some of the other sites. So if you've got a service page, you want to put some how-to on that page as well. And then you got your AI-powered GBP optimizations. Analyze your customers, put them in your LLM, put their GBPs in your LLM, analyze, see what they have. Do they have product pages? What services do they have? Do they have the services filled out? What pictures do they have? Do they have the pictures properly tagged? See what your competition is doing so that you could do that for yourself. And then the secret sauce is the question and answers. Publish, and you want to publish. So publish, twice a week, it seems to be the sweet spot. We publish on our Google business pages, and I don't link to the website from the Google business posts. I link to the citations, and that is going to build your authority because you're using Google to link back to your citations. So instead of saying, learn more and link to your website, on the learn more button when you post, throw it to a citation. Now, core content optimization. This is the big one. So for all the clients that we have, we've built networks called branding networks. Those branding networks are made up of between 20 and 40 different social profiles. On those social profiles is where we post this. I don't necessarily blog on the site anymore. We are getting back to it. But what we found is if you blog too much on your site, if you look at your search engine console, you'll see that Google crawled it, but they didn't index it because they didn't feel it worthy. However, if you create content and you put it on social media sites that point back to your site, that's different because those other social media sites have higher authority than you do at your website. So posting your information on social media pages that you own, like a Google site, or Facebook, or Instagram, or Tumblr, or a WordPress blog, or a Blogger blog. Put that information on that site, point it back to your site, and structure it like this. You want a TLDR box, which is quick for humans to read. You want answer blocks, where you take specific information, specific questions, and answer them in a structure. And then if you can, you put tables and charts you can take from the SSA, from ISS, and then put them and cite them as sources and put them in your content. All of this can be done with the right AI prompt. I'm just telling you this right now. This is the structure you want to do. Take this video, write a prompt, and then use the AI to write the prompt so you can post it on your site. And then you got your EAT signals. You want expertise, authority, and trust markers. Your trust markers are going to be your reviews. Action 5, the power of TLDR. Too long, didn't read. It's pretty much for humans. It's quick answers without scrolling. You want structured, citable facts in digestible form. Place the author and the authority on the top. So you want to make sure that you have your author box above so that they give your facility manager credit for what's been written. And then build your answer blocks. Question header, direct answer, specific data, and context. Make it short, sweet, simple to the point. Why? We're dealing with a RAG database, and this is the chunk that they're going to take from your site, and they're going to cite you as the authority because you didn't have to vectorize your entire website in order to put it in the database. You've already pretty much done it, and you're telling them, use this. And then H1s on your site structure. This slide's not in here. On your site structure, every page should have one H1 tag. Now, an H1 tag is like this on this page, the screen. This would be an H1 tag. It's the main overarching subject of the page. And then you have supporting tags. These would be H2 tags. And then under here, you've got a designated. These would be H3 tags. Most of the time when I see people using the free sites that they get from ESS and Cubby, it's not optimized. You got 50 H1 tags or 20 different H1 tags. Problem is the H1 tag is meant to be the overarching subject of the page. So there should be only one, and it should relate to the title tag we talked about in the beginning of the video. So there's a simple tool that I like to use It's called Marketing Syrup. It's an SEO extension. And what it can do is you install it in your Chrome browser and you can check your site. If you come down here and more than one H1 tag, you got issues. It should be one H1 tag, and then the H2, H3, and H4 tags on your site should support the H1 tag. Comment below if you want the tools that I use to actually get what those words and tags should be. Again, use AI to do it. Evidence is structure. So if you can put this is just an example of a chart. If you can find a chart like the best way to use a self-storage unit, the best sizes to use a self-storage unit, things like that, you can find that on the SSA website. You can find that from the SSA, what's the almanac that they do? The one that they do every other year that aggregates all the latest information. You can use charts from that, just cite it. And then you got your layer EAT signals. You want to demonstrate firsthand knowledge. So you want to say, my manager did this, or we've been doing this for so many years. KC industry credentials is special knowledge if you're part of a local SSA. And then your authoritative reference industry data. And then you want trustworthy, verifiable facts. You want them linked to from other sources on the net. Now's the big one, the RAG ecosystem. Okay. So this is the one that you got to be creative about, right? So you want to create signals in your local area that point back to your self-storage facility as the authority in the industry. And one way that you can do this is a really robust referral system. When I say referral system, is we're referring other businesses to our facility and we're referring our other businesses to our customers. How do we do that? So some of the things that we've done in the past that we're doing right now that we're ramping up because of this is we create a local directory. So if you're in Cleveland, take the area that you're in Cleveland. Cleveland's probably not the best example, but we're going to stick with it. If you're in Cleveland, create a local directory that highlights local businesses. Call those local businesses, say, hey, we got this directory. We want to refer people to your business and we want you to refer back to us. And then list that on the website. And that website is sponsored by your self-storage facility. And then every time you blog for that website, you highlight a local business. And then you say, this is brought to you by your self-storage facility. They point to that. Now, you've created the directory. Now create a Facebook page for that directory and post. And every time you post, highlight a local business and then brought to you by your self-storage facility. And then create a YouTube channel. And I'm telling you, it used to be when I told customers to do this, they get really overwhelmed. But now you can have AI do it. You can have AI create the post. You can have AI create the directory. You can have AI call the individual's businesses and ask them to be in your referral program. You can have AI do all that. You can have AI create the video and post it to your YouTube channel and post in comments if you want. I'm building a community that will show you how to do this, because this is really what you have to do now. You create different layers of local sources of relevant content, news, local government. One thing that I run into is new business owners in an area, they have no idea about codes. They have no idea that in order to rent a place and renovate it, you actually have to go to the local code enforcement office and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Then they get in the middle of it and they get fined. So you want a local entrepreneur, you could build a local entrepreneur reference page where it tells you where to get, what to do, all that good stuff. You want a community voice, which is a Facebook page. You create a subreddit. They love subreddits. The AIs love Facebook pages, subreddit, all that stuff where they can get information. And then you want to interlink it. So your Facebook page is linked to your directory page. Directory page is linked to the YouTube channel. Everything is interlinked with that same title and test structure that I gave you. And then it all points back to your self-storage facility as the reference. And then you can create a podcast. There's AIs out there that you can use 11 Labs to create a podcast about local news and then upload it for free with Spotify Creator. And then you have a podcast that talks about local information and then positions your self-storage facility as the authority in the area. And then you got media collaboration, YouTube channel or blog news, same thing. We will know that's the structure that's going to create all those different chunks of information that will be your own personal RAG ecosystem to point to your facility as the authority in the area and in storage in that area. So you want to do the Trinity. You got the data source. This is what we're talking about. City storage reports page, and it has interactive flood zone map, local moving regulations, community specific data. Then you got the community voice, local traffic, local road closures. You can do all of this with AI. You can create an RSS feed that AI checks every day and creates this report, and then creates a YouTube channel. And I'll have specific examples of what we've done in order to do that. And then the results that you get. Media collaboration. So you got your contract pitfalls. This just talks about a local YouTube channel that you're going to reference the other things. Then you want to interlink everything. So you got your media collaboration talks back to your data resource, and then your community voice, like your Facebook page. And then when someone searches best and safest storage in whatever city, the RAG discovers multiple interconnected, seemingly independent sources, all validating your facility and all that you have control over. So review optimization, that's phase 4. The biggest thing you can do with your reviews is actually mention things about the local area and the type of storage that the customer rented. So we have a system that will prompt the customer for reviews and then reply back with an AI generated response that is optimized for what I need it to be, just like this. Instead of saying, thank you for your review, we got an AI that will refer back. It's agentive.reviews.com. Check it out. It'll take care of all this and it'll post for you. And I says, thank you. Instead of saying, thank you for your review, thank you for choosing the 10 by 15. We're happy. It doesn't have to be the specific unit that the customer really rented. We do have ways of doing that, but I don't want to get too personal. I just want to mention they rented a unit. Could have been a 10 by 15, could have been a 10 by 10. Most customers will read the reply and maybe correct you. We haven't had that experience yet, but you want to mention where it is, and then you want to mention a specific highlight. And each response adds relevant entity data to your GBB profile. Now, each one of the AI platforms like to take their information, and this is just what we found. I've seen this and been able to verify this. You just look at they all have different responses. They don't have the same responses, and you can garner where they got their information. So like ChatGPT is an authority seeker, likes news outlets. All of this is to let you know how to further optimize your website. So ChatGPT likes news outlets. The best way that you can get your facility out there with the news is PRs. I like 38 Digital. Their PRs are fantastic. You can put all kinds of things in there, and they're very economical, and they got a bunch of upsells. So now, when I tell you where to get links, make sure your site structure is optimized. If you send links or press releases, online press releases to a website that doesn't have great structure, you're going to tank it. I'm going to tell you right now, that's the disclaimer. I'm telling you to do all this stuff, but it's all layered together. If you skip any of it, you're not going to get the benefit. And if your site structure is out of date, or you've got multiple H1s all over the place, just like I said, you're going to tank your site if you send this. None of these are magic pills. And that's what really irks me about some of the SEOs and some of the free websites out there. Okay, so if I'm in a city and they're all using storable websites, which one's optimized? Which one? And if I'm in a city and multiple facilities are using ESS, which we've encountered, which one is optimized? Okay. Each facility has their own unique SEO needs. Each facility has their own unique marketing needs, and you need to take that and the market into consideration in what you're doing, as long as budget. And none of this is cheap. You can either learn it and use AI to do it yourself, or you're going to have to pay somebody to do it for you. Okay. And the only thing that's going to make up for a poor digital presence is a maximum on-site presence. So if you can't afford a massive digital presence or have the time to learn this, then you're going to have to invest in a manager that's going to do all the walking for you, or you're going to have to go out and you're going to have to talk to people to get them and create these relationships the old fashioned way. And the best strategy, in my opinion, is to use AI to automate the day-to-day tasks, to free up your manager to go do the good old school guerrilla marketing. Nothing's going to beat that. Nothing's ever going to get away from that. AI is just going to make it easier for you to do that. Off my rant now. So ChatGPT is using news sources. Google AI overviews is a broad aggregator, links to everything. Why? Because it's the biggest search engine out there. It's got the information, the data to look for. So that's a bigger RAG play. And then perplexity is like the curator. It'll curate the content and give it to you in a good form. Now, this is the summary. So you're looking at traditional SEO. You wanted the best website with the most links and the best strategy. Now you're looking at an AGO RAG strategy. You can create your own net, and all of this, a lot of people look at this as extra work. I look at it as if you've had a facility for a while and you have a huge referral network, you're already halfway there. If you've got a referral network, you can create the site, you can create the local site, the local Facebook page, all this stuff to provide a community service and actually become the authority that you say you are. And you can do this remotely, and it's going to benefit you either way. Like referral traffic is the cheapest traffic. The cost per acquisition on a referral is pretty low. So the more referral traffic, the more referral assets that you have out there, the better off you're going to be. And then when AI asks all this to do this, when AI asks who's the expert of stores in the city, all roads lead to your business. So that is a pretty high level overview of the different tactics, SEO, AGO, and GEO, and an overview of how to actually create this. If you've got a Facebook page, and you can see them out there, there's community groups. Create a community group, have your manager curate, use AI to take the load off your manager as far as late calls, all this. You can use AI for late calls. You can use AI for auctions. You can use AI to manage a significant portion of the internal workings of your facility, to free up your manager to do this, train your manager to do this, or make sure you hire a manager or a management company that is doing this. I've seen a lot of management companies not do this. They're doing traditional SEO, they're doing ads. And one thing that I don't recommend, and the school is out on this subject, is not managing, using your Google ads in a way where you let Google do all the picking. I don't like that. I never have. The amount of money that you have to spend in your Google ad account for Google to fully understand your area and your product is out of the budget of most storage facilities. So you want a base of one search ad with one good hook, with a few good hooks, all your pictures, and I'm getting off on a tangent, but we'll get into this later. Just concentrate your Google ads, if you're running Google ads, on a search ad, and then maybe augment it with a YouTube video. I don't like using display for prime. It just spends too much money. Google has gotten better about optimizing the ads after you put them in, but letting Google run your entire campaign, you're going to spend a lot of money and you may not get what you want. And now, if you're spending a lot of money on SEO, you might want to rethink that and move some of this over to the other strategies, because you may be still ranked number one in the Google Maps pack, but your clicks have been going down, or you're getting traffic, but you're not getting a lot of clicks. And that's just because people are getting the answers that they want without having to go to your site, because the AI assisted search is giving it to them. So wanted to get that out there. This is going to be the framework that I'm going to be working on for the rest of the content. I'm going to show you how to use AI to optimize your internal workings in order to free up your managers to be out in public, building your referral. And then we're going to talk about branding. We're going to talk about building those RAG structures that will bring AI to your site. And we're going to do all that. And I'll show you what I do so that you can do it yourself. And we're going to be releasing our school community, where you can join and you can get some of the templates and things that I use, and get some one-on-one or group talks so that we can all collaborate and share things that we've done in order to make our storage owners' lives easier. And if you're a storage owner, how to make your life a little easier. So this is Guy Jarrone with Agentive Automations, and I'm out.